I thought I nailed it. I was like, I am having so much fun. She goes, well, we had to listen. You're a good actor. You're just really bad at voiceover. But at that moment, that spark came back for me. And I was like, well, I've decided in this room that is what I want to do now.
You're listening to the Voiceover Casting Corner, a podcast and question and answer session recorded live every month. VCC is brought to you by the Voicecaster. The Voicecaster casts thousands of voices every year across all genres, and we're excited to give you an inside look at the casting process direct from our casting team.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Voiceover Casting Corner. My name is Kelly Mushinsky, and I am the owner and head of casting at the Voicecaster.
And I'm Kathryn Horan. I'm the Senior Casting Director here at the Voicecaster.
And with us today, we have the incredible Jay Preston. He is an actor, the guy behind the Vorg. He has the VO Weekly Workout, VOC, so many things. So we are going to dive in and chat with him today.
So a little quick bio here for Jay. Jay Preston is a seasoned voice actor and performer with over 15 years in the industry. Renowned for his versatility, warmth, and collaborative spirit. Originally from just south of Boston, he began his career on New England stages before a role in Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End brought him to Los Angeles. While he initially pursued on-camera work, it was behind the mic where he found his true calling. Jay is the new voice of Lefty from Hamburger Helper and the new Haggis McHaggis in the upcoming reboot of Ren and Stimpy. Gamers will recognize him as Maokai in League of Legends and Riggs in Stormland. His diverse portfolio also includes roles in Ratchet and Clank, Rift Apart, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and Spider-Man 2. In 2020, Jay's portrayal of the donkey in CNN's election campaign earned him the Voice Arts Award for Outstanding Promo Campaign. And behind his performance work, Jay serves as the creative director of the Voiceover Resource Guide, is the founder of the Voiceover Collective, co-founder of the online VO Weekly Workout, and co-runs The Booth of Us with his wife, fellow voice actor Megan Hensley. Together, they share a passion for travel and have mastered the art of recording broadcast-quality voiceover from anywhere in the world.
I always love sending you emails to check your avails, and then you're like, I'm actually in this location right now, but I can still record. I love it. I'm like, where are they today? I don't know. Yeah. You're actually in Los Angeles today, which is like unheard of. So
yeah.
That's so
it's funny.
awesome.
I'll go to a networking group and a networking thing, and people will be like, did you move? And I'm like, we move around, but still here.
It's so awesome. That's so awesome. And you guys really have mastered being able to record anywhere. I mean, I can't even tell you how many locations we've recorded you guys in at this point. So,
we did 22 states last year in 4 months, and recorded in all of them. And I actually booked a pretty big campaign for Presbyterian Health. And and by the end of it, I booked it in May. And that's when we started traveling. And by the end of it, I had recorded 8 different states with them. And they had no idea at the end. They were like, wait, what? I thought it was the same studio.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And I mean, the nice thing about carrying your own studio with you is that it will essentially sound the same because you're on the same equipment and all of that. So it truly is versatile, which is amazing. And is there anything that you don't do in the voiceover industry? Because that list might be shorter than what you do. So you do so many things. You do so many things. How did you get started in the voiceover industry? How did it all start?
Well, it all started way back in the day. Well, I grew up on the stage and doing theater in New England, as Kathryn said. And then I was actually a working actor in Boston before I left. I had gone to school, gone to college, and I was working at the Medieval Manor, which sadly doesn't exist anymore. But I was like a constant person who worked on stage doing like the oaf character and the jester character and my Scottish character. I did that for years, and I did improv with the Speed of Thought players all over New England as well. So like when improv sports first started, I was like on stage with a lot of those people doing like contests of doing improv. So like, and then I did a children's theater for 2 years. And then I got that bug of like, maybe I want to be like a famous film actor. Some of the people I went to college with were out here casting stuff. Like they worked with, one of them, Nicole Dion, worked with Sandy Alisi Casting for like mostly background stuff, but every now and then she got some like really good like background parts that might have had lines. So there was an audition for Pirates of the Caribbean, the third one, and I flew out here for it because there was no like doing it from home back then. So I flew out here for it, and I auditioned, and it was like on at the Disney set, and it was like I was blown away by like what life was like. Never been to California, and then I flew back home, and I was like, well, that was a fun experience. And then I was like doing my thing, and then I got a call back, and then I was like, like in 3 days. So I flew back, did the call back, and then they were like, okay, we're gonna figure it out pretty soon, so stick around. And then I was like, okay. And I didn't live here. So I was like crashing on friends' couches and then not hearing anything for like a week and a half. And then I was about to go back and they're like, we cast you as one of the French pirates. So I was get to be one of the French pirates with lines. They thought one of the French pirates is going to have lines. So there's a possibility you're going to have lines. And I was like over the moon. I was like, this is Hollywood. I'm on my way. I'm there for another week because waiting for, costuming or whatever to get fitted. And I ended up I was working at the Olive Garden back then in New England, and they had called the Olive Garden in Burbank, and they were like, they're going to let you work there part-time so you can make some money while you're just sitting in interim. And so then I got that, and then I was working, and then I got the call that said, oh, he wants to do actual people from France. So, but we did cast a whole crew of pirates, so hang tight. We're going to keep using you in the film. Not sure if you're going to have a line or not, but keep tight. So another like week or two goes by, and then I become one of Keith Richards' pirates. So I'm one of the New World pirates at the end of the movie. If you pause the movie at the end, you see me for a lot longer on screen. Cut to like 5 years go by, and I start to just get jaded with how the industry really works. Like I thought it was going to be like that all the time, like it is not. So I was starting to get jaded, just always being like going out for homeless guy or like hippie or whatever. Just exactly what you look like only. And I got to know all the Jesuses in LA. And there was like I was always at the Jesus auditions. So then I was about to just leave or change my ideas or do something different. Or there was a random moment where the girlfriend at the time was at the bar flirting with another dude and brings that dude over to me and was like, I told him that you're kind of, into the acting thing, and his aunt does voiceover, is like an agent. And I was like, well, I'd love to do something like that. I've never tried it, but I mean, I'd love to do that. Happened to be Mary Ellen Lord at SPV was this guy's aunt.
Yeah.
And so I went, he got me a audition with her, and I had no idea about the industry at all. So I didn't even know how like, wow, that is.
Yeah.
Like I was like, cool. Go down to
Probably better that way.
the big building, and like, it was like, I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm back. It's Hollywood again, And then I get in there, they give me this stack of papers, and there's just like all these different characters, animation, video games, promo, all the stuff. I had no idea what I was doing, but I just grabbed it, went in the booth, and I had a blast. I thought I nailed it. I was like, I am having so much fun. The booth director was killing it, and we were just having fun together. I come out, she's like, okay, we're gonna all listen to it, and then we'll be right in with you. She comes back and she goes, well, we had to listen. You're a good actor. You're just really bad at voiceover. But at that moment, that spark came back for me. Yeah. And I was like, well, I've decided in this room that is what I want to do now. Like, this is where I can be all these different characters. I can be an old guy, young guy, a soldier, not just what I look like. And I was like, that improv theater kid in me was like, I want to do this. So I just asked her, what do I do? And she said, well, I would go to the Voicecaster. I would go to Kalmanson and Kalmanson. I would go, and she gave me a list of places to go. And I just took whatever money I had left and did exactly what she said. And she said, my door will be open if you want to come back and try again. Nice. And then once I did some research, I was like, oh, I was at SPV. So I'm not going back in that door until I'm like really ready. So I did classes, workshops, tons of with you, Voicecaster. And I just learned as much as I could. And I realized, and it took me 2 years or 3 years before I felt ready enough to go back in and through that door. So that's my long journey into voiceover.
That's amazing. Yeah. And I mean, you've done so much since then. It's like you've taken on all of these other roles. Just how did you get into all of the other things that you do? The VOC, VOWW, like how did all of that start?
Well, when I was going around to all this class, I was literally going everywhere. Mary was like, go see Bill Holmes. I was like, okay, the VO doctor. So I was like gaining these little bits of wisdom from every little class. And, I learned so much from accountants and accountants, and with like the finding your own voice thing, I learned tons from Voicecasters. Like I took your animation classes, your commercial classes, and it's like, I kept getting these little gems. And I kept finding that there was people way better than me in every workshop. And so like I would just learn so much from the actors. And so like I started to be like, hey, where are you going to go to the next workshop? Because I want to learn, I want to go with you. So I started to like get this bunch of friends, of people that I had met who I was like thinking amazing actors. And I just wanted to like go where they were going. And then so we could all keep learning from each other and stuff. And then I was horrible with names, like great with faces, horrible with names. So I was like, how am I going to remember like these 10, 15 people? So I made a Facebook group and called the Voiceover Collective, and it was just 10 of us. And like we could just share where we're going to go next and things we learned. And it was like a core group of people who like really wanted to help each other all succeed. And then it grew to like 20, and then it grew to like 30, 50. And then it became the Voiceover Collective with like way too many people in it, 500 or something. And
because Kelly and I were just talking about how important networking and connections are. And that's a perfect example of that.
And then we had meetings every month, and I was like, let's all go to somewhere every single month. And I was one of the first people to like make people get up and move. People go to like networking things and like sit down and they stay in the same spot the entire night and never get to touch. So I like every 10 minutes or so, I'd be like, okay, everyone switch. And so that really helped out. And it was through these little groups that I met Tim Friedlander at one of the VO Dojo's workshops. We were just in line together waiting to do our thing. And you got Tim Friedlander, but deep voice. And we just clicked right away. And then he already had Gardner Street, his people, but I started to help him with the workout group. So we brought people in, and that helped fund Tim's next journey into voiceover. And then remember Voice Bank?
Mm-hmm.
So everybody loved Voice Bank, and they had the little weekly workout thing that they did. And so when Voice Bank went away and somebody bought it, I loved it. So like it was $10, and I could learn from all the actors, and I could kind of judge my equipment versus other people I'm competing with. So like I really delved into that workshop and like got a lot out of my $10. And so when it went away, me and Tim and Brad Venable, the late Brad Venable, we were like, let's create it. Like a week after it disappeared, we made it, put it online, made a better version of it, and like kept it at a reasonable rate. It's like only $20. And you guys do the same thing with your weekly workout, which is wonderful. And it's perfectly different than ours. So I always tell people like there's this one and there's this one, and you can make that $30 or $40 go so far if you spend the time.
I always tell people about yours as well, because I'm like, get feedback and work with as many people as you can. And it's like it's all about that networking and getting feedback so often. Like we are in and we're like in a void. It's like everybody is just sending things out and not hearing anything, and it can be so isolated. So it's like, do as many of those things as you possibly can. It's huge.
And it's a great safe place to like try some stuff out you learned. Like you go to these workshops and people are like, do this, improv like crazy. And you're like, do I want to do that? But here's like a place you can spend $10 and see if it's working. It's like, And then through those, and so like another reason the website exists for the VO Collective was because once you start gaining any type of success in anything, really, people start to ask you, how do I get in? How can I do that? I'd love to do voiceover as a hobby. So I would just take people out, or they would take me out for a glass of wine, and I would like tell them, but then it was just like every week I was taking someone new out, and then most of them don't ever go past the knowledge, like you spill a whole 2 hours worth of stuff and then they don't do anything with it. So I made a website that just said everything I would want to say. And I said, go here, write down some questions. And if you still have questions, we'll meet. And that solved 80% of my meetups.
Perfect. Yeah.
Smart.
And it was because of the Voiceover Collective website that when the Voiceover Resource Guide was about, after the pandemic, he didn't really know what to do with it next. And then he found the VO Collective's website and reached out to me, and he offered me to become creative director. And I had used, actually the first place I ever got it was the Voicecaster. I came into the voice catcher thing, and there was a bunch of Vorgs just sitting there, and I was like, actually, they probably looked like these older ones.
Right.
Yeah, and I was like, "Ooh, can I have one of those?" And I got so many agents from it, and I got to. So when I got the opportunity to take it over and bring it to the next generation, I was like, I called Tim, and I was like, "We have an opportunity here." And Tim's like, "Yes, let us do that. Let's do that." So
yeah, the Vorg is such a great resource. I'm glad you guys have kept it going.
Amazing.
It's a one-stop shop for everything.
Mm-hmm. And you're not just keeping it going, you're not just like maintaining it. You're growing it. Like you're making it bigger and better. And like I'm so excited. I mean, I'm so excited that we get to be a small part of that, as a sponsor. But like it's like it's incredible what you guys have been doing with it. It's very exciting. So and I'm constantly giving that to people. It's like, I mean, even clients who are like, oh, I need a recording studio. I'm like, great, here's a website that has a map that has and it's like, I have found so many vetted recording studios and made relationships with other studios through the Vorg,
Absolutely.
So it's like, it's incredible. So thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
you're
you
welcome.
for
And
all that you do.
yeah, it's been an endeavor. I mean, the website was like ancient when we took it over, and so we rebuilt it from the ground up. And now you can literally type something in a search bar like Google, and something will just pop up. And so
much more user friendly.
yeah. So it's fun.
And even more time consuming when your gold sponsor doesn't know how to give you the right stuff. So you have to just do it for us.
My pleasure.
Which
It looks great though.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah. I'm excited about it.
So going back to your journey as an actor, Jay, do you have any favorite projects that you've worked on? Anything that stands out?
I do love all my projects, of course, but I think my favorite, most fun one of booking and all that was during the pandemic, actually. I booked the donkey for the CNN promo campaign. And the elephant was Maurice LaMarche.
Oh,
and
fun.
so like when I saw his name on the call sheet, I was like, what? Like I get to act with Maurice, like one of the legends of the industry. And so I was like nervous, and they did this, the people who made the whole campaign back then, it was like pre-Zoom, you know what I mean? Like, so they had created something very much like what we're on right now with StreamYard. And it was all real time. And I was in Iowa with Meg at the time. We set up our away booth in Iowa. And so and it was, all the air conditioner had to be off, and it was midsummer. So I'm like in this booth in Iowa. He's here in Burbank. They're in somewhere else, Florida or something. I don't know but we were all working seamlessly, and like me and Maurice were like able to improv off each other and like stay on the same level for the campaign. And it was so much fun. And we did so many different takes, and because there was, I think, 4 or 5 spots, and it was just a blast. Like I was sweating by the end of it in there, and I just had so much fun. And then I got to like say that I got to work with Maurice LaMarche, like way before any type of animation world came up for me. So it's like, now I have this animated donkey that's talking to animated elephant him. So then I submitted to the Voice Arts Awards, and it won. And so like Maurice reached out to me, and he's like, well, I love that this happened. So like I got to talk to him more. So it was like such a great experience, and it's a highlight.
That's very cool.
Very cool.
Kind of going from there, what are some of your biggest successes or any challenges that you've had to overcome on your journey?
I'm going to be the new voice of the Haggis McHaggis on Ren and Stimpy when it reboots. And I think it's this year. It might be happening on Paramount Plus. And the original actor was the one who did, Scrooge McDuck. And so, just I listened to all of his original stuff and just trying to like hone in on his Haggis voice. And the Scottish thing, like we'll probably talk about it later, but the Scottish thing's been really good to me. Like I used, when I waited tables back in the day, I did it in a Scottish accent because I'm from Boston. And when you wait tables and you're sarcastic to people in the Boston accent, everyone thinks you're an asshole. But if you do it in a Scottish accent, everyone thinks you're always so clever, so witty. So I ended up make a lot of more money that way. So I've been doing it for like years, and I can turn it on and off. And so like being able to have something like Haggis McHaggis, on my credits list is just like an honor.
All that training, it paid off.
Yeah, exactly. And then on the commercial side, when I booked Lefty from Hamburger Helper, the little hand, that was such a cool booking because I tried really hard on the audition, because it's like, when a voice actor's dream is to like be a brand name, or like one of these kind of characters that everyone, because everyone's like, oh, anything I've heard, even though you've done like hundreds of stuff, there's like nothing ever comes to mind of like something you heard. So me and Meg always had this little joke. We were like, oh yeah, have you ever heard, if you go to like the stop sign, you go, wait trying to cross the road. That was but this was that. So I tried really hard in the audition, and the callback happened. We were about to leave, and it's like it's also a good lesson for life. It's like we were all packed up, gonna go on a trip and leave for the weekend, and it was like Friday, and we were trying to, like, something kept stopping us, right? And then we're finally like, fine, let's just get out. And we're all annoyed at each other. Let's get out. And then this audition came in. It was that, and it's like, yeah, I could have taken this with me and done it in the car or something. But I turned the computer back on, took everything off, and I was like, I'm going to go back in and like try to nail this callback. Did it. And then we drove to Napa. And then while we're in Napa, we're like going to the next winery like a couple days later. And I randomly was like, God, I wish I booked this like Hamburger Helper thing. And I shit you not, the phone rang and it was my agent. And I was like, I wish we had recorded it, because it literally, I said it rang, and he was talking about this gig, and I was like, this doesn't happen. So it holds a special
You put
place.
it out to the universe, and there it was. Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
That's a great story too.
Yeah.
Just never
I love that.
Yeah, every day is like, I feel like there's a challenge to like stay competitive and give everything your all. And even on days when you're tired or burnt out, it's like, if you go in the booth with your day or whatever, it shows through all your auditions. So it's like being able to stay like putting out the good work in every audition, because you never know which one's yours, like which job's going to be like your next big one. And it's like, if you screwed it up, like that's your chance. So the biggest challenge was getting out of my own way. I learned it by Charlie Adler. I had just done like my very first video game at WB, and it was like a very small character, like nothing to like, but I was stoked. I got to go to the WB lot, I got to record, and it was like, who cares what it was? I was like cloud nine. So I was like, I'm going to go get a drink and celebrate myself. And so like I went to the Fat Dog in NoHo, and Charlie Adler was there, and I had just taken a couple of his workshops, and he is a legend in his own right. And I wasn't about to tell him, like, but I was like in a good mood, and he's like, hey, how things go? And I was like, yeah, I don't know. I'm in a good mood because I just did this thing, but it's like nothing compared to, he's like, he stopped me. He was like, hey, right, the feeling you're feeling, keep that feeling. And he's like, don't ever say that feeling is He's like, every job I book is one of my favorite jobs. He said, just own that you loved it. Yeah. Be happy, celebrate. Celebrate. And it just like stuck with me. It's like, just do it.
Yeah. What a great like mindset shift, it's like, that's huge. And then it's like, yeah, allow yourself to be happy. I feel like it's like people allow themselves to be upset about things for far too long, but we don't allow ourselves to just be happy and celebrate. I love that. You have to celebrate all the wins, big or small.
Yeah, you do. And it's like, and when you do, you feel a lot better about everything. It's like, I had fun. I talked to like 9 people on the Zoom line, and no one's going to hear this other than the ad campaign people, but it might lead somewhere. It's like, it's still fun.
Exactly. Well, and it's like confidence. I'm always talking about confidence with people. It's like confidence is one of those things where it shows when you don't have the confidence. And so it's like, by giving yourself that chance to celebrate and be proud of yourself, even if it's like, yeah, something nobody's ever going to see or ever going to know that it's you. It's like, who cares? Be proud of yourself. So what advice would you give actors who are just starting out?
Well, first I would say go pick up a Vogue. I'd also say just get outside of your booth and experience life and live life, because we all as actors, like, we have a bag of tricks, and we gain that bag of tricks through life, right? Living life the way we live it in our personalities. But like that bag of tricks can like be empty. It's not like Bugs Bunny's bag where it can be anything at any time. So it's like you have to go out and have new experiences to pull from and see new people to gain new characters. And so like a lot of people just spend their life kind of in their booth and like barely going out and barely networking and barely doing anything new. But I think that the more that me and Meg like travel and do what we love, like we try to do it as often as we can. Like if there's like, oh, not that many auditions today, like we're going somewhere and doing something, and we're gonna do something that makes us happy. And I think that has more, like we book more when we're happier. Like when we're doing the things we like. When we went on the 20 state road trip last year, it was like a slow period, and then we're like, we just gotta get out of here. I don't want to be in LA during the summer. And so we left, and we were booking all the time. And it was great because we were just like everywhere we were, it was like, and that the agreement we made was, you know, our work was going to come first, no matter where we ended up. We could be at like this incredible location, but it was like, no, we need to set the booth up and miss this day because like the work is important. So I would just say like live the life, and just become well-rounded, and don't just stick to one coach or one workshop. Like go here and get your gems of knowledge from all these different places. Some people just stick and then they kind of flatline in a way, you know, and I think that it's important to like gain the knowledge. Oh, and I would say learn script analysis, learn marketing, learn audio and tech. And if you've never taken an improv class, go take one.
Yes.
If you've never taken a live acting course or, you know.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Lots of
I agree
fun.
with all of that. That's all amazing advice. I feel like those are things that we are constantly saying. It's like people will go through all of our classes and be like, now what? And we're like, go somewhere else. Like work with other people. Like there's so many different perspectives, you know? It's like, yeah, you have
you never know where that nugget of knowledge is going to come from, or that thing that just really clicks with you.
Exactly.
Yes. And I love that you said like the life experiences. First of all, like being happy in your life is huge. Like that just makes everything more enjoyable, work and whatever. But also, you know, that's part of what makes us human, and we want human voices because of their experiences. You know, we're not going to get into AI right now, but that's exactly what AI can't do. AI doesn't have human experiences. They don't, you know, it doesn't have a point of view. And yeah, the more of those life experiences that you can have, it's so much more depth to your work.
Yeah, totally.
Looking to wrap it up, if there's one thing you could leave our listeners with, what would it be?
Yeah, I will say that, and it kind of goes with what you're saying, Kathryn, is I would say hunt for your aha moment. Like that moment that you've heard something that you probably heard before and someone told you before and you didn't heed the advice. But like when that piece of advice or whatever it is finally clicks and you get that feeling and something changes in your brain, like you might sometimes have to hear something 5-6 times for it to really click. And then when it does, it can change your whole life. And so like, that's what I did for the first 3-4 years. I just kept trying to find aha moments. You know, another fun one from Charlie Adler was, two of my big lessons was from him. I was coaching, trying to do animation stuff. So I like brought a script and to his place, and he's coaching me, and he goes, I did my read, and he goes, okay, what do you think about that? And I said, well, I probably could do it better he's like, okay. And so I did it again, and he goes, what do you think about how you did on that one? And I was like maybe I did pretty good. He's like, I'll never hire you. He's like, you might as well just be done now. He's like, I'm never going to hire you because you don't know when you did a great job. And he said, that take was perfect, but you didn't know it, so you would have changed something. He's like, I want to hire someone who, when they come in and they record something, they know it was the best every time they open their mouth. And it was an aha moment. It changed everything. So now I'm way more confident on deliveries. I'm way more confident when I book a job and go in and record. And it changed everything. And he did it the way, like, I'm from Boston. So like, I need sarcasm and I need some people tell me how it is. And that's how it was for me, for him. You know, some people need a different version of that.
It's right back what Kelly was saying, that confidence. Yeah. It makes such a world of difference when people, even if you might not feel it truly inside, just having that, you know, outward appearance of, I nailed it.
And hearing the same thing said 10 different times, it's like, one of those, somebody's going to say it in a way or in a tone or whatever where it clicks and you're like, yes, like, oh, I knew that. But now it's like, okay, I really know that. I know what to do with that now. So yeah, that's so great. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for chatting with us today, Jay. And we're going to make sure we have all the links below the video here as well so that you guys can check out everything from the Vorg to the VO Weekly Workout to the Voiceover Collective, all great resources. So we want to make sure that everybody has those. So thank you so much.
You got it. Thanks for having me. This was a blast.
Jay, this was great.
Catch our next Voiceover Casting Corner episode live on Facebook and YouTube. Check our socials or follow us for the latest info. Thanks for listening.